Hello, this is Lights. Check, check. My new record is called The Listening, and it's kind of the debut follow-up to the EP, which was a lot of really singable, you know, pop, electro stuff, but this is just kind of the completed form of that. The EP was a bit of an appetizer, and it's just it was kind of a process of me discovering a lot about myself. And I realized over the course of a couple years that I learn a lot more about myself creating music and listening to music as opposed to, you know, talking and shooting my mouth off as I always do, because I talk very fast. So this is kind of a result of that, you know. There's something discovered in every song, and hopefully the result is as impacting as it was on me as I was creating it. It's very electro and melodic. I mean, aside from musically, in which I learned a lot of things like structuring a song better, fitting lyrics, and one of the things I've learned to embrace is the fact that I talk extremely fast, and I've learned to pack a lot more lyrics into small spaces. As far as about myself, I mean, even with individual songs, like there's a song called The Listening, the whole record's called The Listening, and in this song it kind of took writing this song to realize that I'm better off just listening and taking things slow. I've broken a lot of dishes in my day. My dad's always telling me to slow down. So the listening is kind of about that. It's just, I think everyone can relate to this, I always get the thing I wanted to say after the situation is over. And that's just kind of, I'm like, oh, if I would have just listened and been patient, and if I would have, you know, could have come up with something a little better a little later. So that was just an example of something that I learned about myself, aside from all the musical things that I've matured. I mean, through the making of The Listening, I've not only learned a lot about myself musically, but I've also gotten that much better at what I do, and learned how to strip everything away and just play something solo with a guitar or a keyboard or piano, and I mean, because that's the process of writing these songs, starting with something really simple. So in turn, that's made me a lot better of a musician, because I can just sit there and play the songs, and they can translate just as well, very, very much alone, than with all the fancy production on it. So as far as live shows and everything, I've gotten that much better. Hopefully, people get better at what they do over the course of doing it enough. But that's one of the things, definitely, just learning how to strip it down and be confident enough to play it yourself, and that makes you that much more confident when everything's around it. The online platforms that I have where I'm able to put out those kind of things, it started with me putting out a video of me doing Last Thing on Your Mind acoustically, and I mean, when you don't get feedback from people, it's hard to tell how the world perceives it, and so I was very nervous about posting that, and then I got a lot of good feedback, and that's very good for the confidence, and it makes you want to do more like that. So I did a Drive My Soul one, and then I did a February Air one, and I did The Listening recently, just acoustic, and I mean, hearing a lot of feedback and seeing people's comments is really encouraging and makes me, you know, feel that much more confident about it. So that could have been one thing that contributed to me feeling a lot better about doing something just solo. It's real. All the online platforms that we have these days are so important. That's the reason I'm here. My music took its foothold on MySpace years ago, when I just put up a few songs that I had kicking around, and I was proud of them, and I wanted the world to hear them, and then people started to listen. And I mean, that's the beauty of these platforms. Like, people can find the music they like now. They don't have to be told what to like. They can discover it for themselves, and it's just a matter of us putting it out there for them to find. And that's how it all started, and it's a great, I mean, and it's even internationally, I mean, places like the UK and Germany and Japan, where some people are actually listening to my music, there would be no way if I didn't have MySpace or, you know, YouTube or Twitter or anything like that. So, I mean, I say use it to its full advantage, because it's such a blessing these days. Yes, I'm working on Captain Lights. It's called Audio Quest, and I'm working with Tom Coker from Marvel Digital Comics. He's an incredible illustrator and crazy imagination. He even takes things beyond where I would take them. And I mean, I've always been a fan of comics, and when it all kind of started when I was making a bio a couple years ago, and I decided I don't want to do a boring old bio, I want to make a comic. So I made a 10-page comic. It's on my website, and that kind of kicked off this whole, it kind of worked. There's a comic, it says what I'm about and more by the fact that it's comic, and it's very a sci-fi form. So this is kind of a follow-up to that, and it's kind of a big metaphor for the way I am, you know, just blitzing through the sound banks on my keyboard looking for stuff. It almost feels like I'm drifting through space, and the concept is the whole universe runs off sounds, and Captain Lights is always scavenging for new sounds and collecting sound samples to run her laser guns and everything like that. And along the way, she stumbles across her arch nemesis, Lotar, and, you know, every episode there's always some new drama going on, and it's really fun because it started out originally as going to be a comic book, and now it's a semi-animated cartoon, and it's going to be 2-minute episodes that will be online and on MTV, and who knows where else they're going to be. And I'm doing voiceovers for them and stuff, and I'm kind of the worst voice actor ever, but it's funny. It's a really, it blew my mind when I first saw it. He's brought all my deepest fantasies to life, so I'm living vicariously through Captain Lights. I've always kind of drifted off into what I call an alternate universe when I write music. My head goes to this different place, and I'm able, it's like a different zone, and I'm able to write a lot more easily and convey my feelings a lot more easily, and it just started to translate itself in all the artwork and the merch designs and my EP cover, where I actually, you know, initially just took a picture of myself and translated it into the alternate me, which is like a more, I don't know, a cooler version of me. It's a cartoon, it's everything I want to be. So I'm able to just live out my fantasies in this alternate universe, and that's just where it came from. It's so much fun for me to go there all the time, and now it's being reflected in everything, including the new artwork for the album and my new merch designs and my website. There's a galaxy in the background. It's supposed to be the alternate universe, and the comics and everything, and I think it just represents imagination for me. That's why I love sci-fi. Sarah's a friend of mine from Toronto. She's such a talented girl, and she's my age, and I always love to support, you know, girls doing their thing in the industry. So I needed, you know, I was just starting out, and I was going to make a video, and I knew exactly what I wanted, and I didn't know how to get it, and she was able to do exactly what I needed. So I told her, I'm like, I want a yellow dress with a purple stripe at the front. She made it happen for me. So we kept doing it, and over the course of three videos, we had sort of 3 of the same cool space dresses that I envisioned, you know, as this space girl. And she made it all come to life. And then the last thing we did together was my dress for the Junos, which was supposed to be like a more classic version of a spacey kind of dress. But she's so talented, and I hope that she goes as far as she can with it. She's amazing. It's more, my fashion is dictated by where my music takes me, and by that I mean, you know, wherever I am musically and graphically and visually and inspiredly, if that's a word, that's where my fashion follows. So when I had my EP out, it was very like Princess Galaxy, and I was wearing all those kind of things, boots and little dresses and headbands, and now I'm in like this tough kick where like Lara Croft meets Wonder Woman, and I'm very much inspired by that, with like combat boots and, you know, a little bit more rugged, and I'm playing a lot of, you know, fighting games on Xbox, so everything's kind of dictated by that, and basically fashion follows, but it's definitely an important part.